What's going on, everybody? Here, and welcome to a Palworld video. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 things that I kind of wish I would have known, or 10 little just tips and tricks, things that help me along the way. These aren't necessarily like my best 10 things. These aren't necessarily in any order, but they're 10 things that I get questions on all the time as I'm streaming, and I feel like maybe you will get some useful information out of this as well. Now, there's going to be 10 things, but there's going to be like other things within those things. So yeah, there's gonna be more than 10 things. And leave a comment, let me know if any of these helped you, if you didn't know anything, or if you feel like I missed anything. So first of all, let's get into Palworld, the bait. Let's talk about the Pal box here, because I get this question more than any question. How do you get this box on an inventory, or on a foundation here? Well, it's actually not too hard. So what you need to do is you need to figure out where you're gonna build your base. And I would probably recommend this for your second base, maybe not your first. I would say your first base is basically, you know, you're probably gonna be building in the starting area. So maybe for your second base, this is maybe something you'd want to do. But basically, all you have to do, it's actually very easy, is you go to your foundations, whatever foundation you want to do, and you need to essentially make a 2x2 or a 2x3. I would recommend a 2x3, so 2 foundations wide by 3 foundations long. And the reason for that is because the hitbox for this PAL box is actually much larger. Do you see how the red box comes out further than the actual PAL box? Well, it goes back further too. And the reason it goes back so far is because that's where your pals spawn in at. So when you place a pal into your base, here, I'll give you an example. I'll show you right here. When you place a pal into your base, my PAL box is getting quite full here. I'm gonna have to get rid of some things. When you place them into your base, right here is where they're actually gonna spawn in. That's why it's so large. That's why the area is so big. So what you need to do is you just need to make sure that you have essentially what I would say is 2x3 foundations down, and then you'll be able to place this box down. So that right there is like the question I get all the time. Now, let's talk about moving your base. Now, if you have a PAL box, if you only have one base, you can delete this. You can delete this and your pals will stay in it. It's like in a magical system somewhere in the ether. It's like an ender chest, right? You can place this down, you can take it off, even if it's your only one, and you can move it to wherever you want. Now, be careful when you do that, because things that you cannot build naturally, like while you're out away from your base, those will get destroyed. So what I would recommend is I would wait until you unlock the second, the ability to build a second base here. So right now I have the ability to build 3. I would wait until you get the ability to build 2, which it's not very hard. And then you can go get your second base set up, and then you can teleport back and forth. And that's another trick. This is a teleport in itself. So right now I have 3 bases. I have a base here for iron, and I have a base way up here for coal. So I use this as teleports. If I need to move them for anything else, I can. It's all fine and dandy. But that's like my first tip and trick, I guess. So let's talk about the next one, which is actually, let's talk about XP and leveling here. I'm level 40 currently. And there is an extremely fast way to level up. When you first start the game, if you go out and you catch things that you do not have 10 of, if you don't know if you have 10 of them, you go to your PAL deck, you can click on, so like land ball, for example. Down here, there's a capture bonus. It says complete 11 of 10, right? So I've gotten all of those. So if I go through and find something that I've not caught 10 of, like Pen King, I've caught 4 of 10. That means for the next 6 Pen Kings I catch, I'm going to get an insane XP bonus. I will show you exactly what I mean right now. Let's go find some pals, let's catch something, and let me explain to you, let me show you what I mean by this. Okay, I know for a fact that I need Sweeper right there. I have the Swees, I have Cremis, I have all of them, but I do not have the Sweeper. So we're gonna go after the Sweeper, and we're gonna go ahead and catch ourselves a sweeper here. Let's see. Let's use green balls here. All right. Also, to switch your spheres, you have to press 2 on it's on the keyboard, or I'm not sure what it is on Xbox. Okay, so for example, this guy right here, if we catch this bad boy, you are gonna see that I'm going to get around 8,000 XP. Now, the reason I'm getting so much XP, I got 8,084, 8,148 overall for everything. The reason you get so much is because as you're playing and as you level, let's get out of here. Let's not get killed. Okay, that's much better. The reason is because as you level up, you get more and more XP. So when you're first starting the game, that XP bonus is going to be like a couple hundred. But as you level up, as you hit level 3, level 4, level 5, 6, 7, 12, 15, 20, 34, whatever, it's going to level up with you. Now, it doesn't matter which pal it actually is. So if I hadn't caught all of my land balls yet, I could go back, catch 10 land balls, and get like 8,000 XP a pop because it scales with your level. So if you are to a point in the game where you're trying to get some XP, go through your pal list and see what you can catch. A lot of these you can find super low level. You can go out, you can throw out, you can use the blue spheres, go out and get them. Because until you get 10, you get crazy amounts of XP for every single one. Not just like getting 10 and then getting that once. You get it every single time. So that is a huge thing. That is like the leveling guide. That's like, boom, you do that, you're leveling, you're having a good time. Now, you do get XP from bosses, you get XP from dungeons, you get XP from all kinds of things, but catching pals is your main source of XP. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is actually I want to talk about iron and ore. Because as you're leveling up, as you're doing things, you're going to need ore more and more and more. And you're going to get to the point where you're going to be needing ore so much that it's ridiculous. It is probably the most used item. Well, besides like stone and stuff like that, it's one of the most used items in the game. So for me, one of the easiest early game spots, and I'll show you right here where this is at, is if you go, here's your starting area right here. You go up, there's a desolated church right here in this little redded wood area. It's right here, and there's actually a teleport right in front of it. So you don't have to place down a workbench thing here if you don't want to, because there's literally a teleport right in front of this thing right here. Let's see, let me run around so you can see it. Let me prove to you so I'm not lying. See, there it is. So there's a teleport literally right there. So until you have like an extra base, if you have an extra base that you're not using, you could go ahead and throw a pal box over here. Why not? But the way that you want to harvest this, the way that it's going to make it so much easier for you is if you use a dig toys. So we're going to be using our dig toys here. And what happens is, and there's actually kind of a perk to having a base thing right here. And I'll tell you why here in a second. But basically you throw your dig toys out. Dig toys goes to town and mines it for you. And he mines it faster than you can mine it. So typically, maybe about the same speed, but you're not wasting your pickaxe, you're not wasting your resources, you're not wasting anything, you don't have to repair anything. Dig Toys will do it for you. Dig Toys is the biggest time saver, the best, one of the best, most useful pals in the game. And I will show you where I got mine. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's a way to get them early. But if you use the XP method that I talked about, you should be able to hit level 20 rather quickly. To be completely honest with you. So this is your ore, and like I said, it's insane. Now, there's another tip that's going to go in with this because why not? Multi-tips, you know. When you are completely full of inventory weight, you can actually still move around using a grappling gun. So I have the Giga grappling gun. But you can actually still move around using a grappling gun when you're like fully overweight. So I'm gonna let him go through. I'm gonna let him mine the rest of these out. We're gonna grab all of it. I'm gonna be way overweight, and then we'll use the grappling hook, and I'll show you how to do this. Now, is it worth it? I don't know, because you could just take what you could fill up your inventory, take it, walk back, drop it off, come back, get more, or you could just wait till he's done. So, but I'll wait till he's done so that way you can see what I mean. You know what? Actually, I want to talk about this now because, before I forget, there is he has an ability called Drill Crusher, where if you press and hold F, it will basically keep going and going and going until that orange bar runs out, or it runs out of ore. So I can still see that there's ore over there, and I can still see that he's doing 30-something damage to a ore node, and now it's gone. So now I can cancel him. So it's way faster, but you have to use all of its ability before it'll start recharging. So I used half of it right there. Now I'll continue doing it on this rock right here, and then it's way faster, but like I said, you have to use the entire ability before it'll start regenning, if you will. So like right now it's not even hitting the thing, but we're just gonna let it finish off. There we go. Okay, so I'm weighted down too much. He's doing this thing in the background. I can't even walk right now, so I'm gonna use my grapple gun. I'm actually gonna go ahead and grapple to these little piles of stuff and pick them up, because why not? I might as well. Now the grapple gun does have a cooldown, and if you actually unequip it and re-equip it, it does like reset it. So if I came in here and went like this, it technically is now like the cooldown. It might be a little bit faster, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like I can wait the 6 seconds for it to cool down. Also, fun fact, little thing: if your grappling gun's not working, it does have to use. It uses handgun ammo, but it doesn't actually use the ammo. You just have to have it, and then it'll work. Yeah, kind of a weird thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to use the ammo or not, but it just doesn't. And then the last thing with this area, specifically with harvesting this, if you noticed, my Dig Toys has gone from node to node to node by himself. I haven't had to do anything, right? Well, if you have a base, if you have a PAL box next to it, and this is all within the circle of the PAL box, the Dig Toys, they will go from node to node to node on their own. If you are out in an area that doesn't have a PAL box, you might have to, once it's done with a node, you might have to pull it back and then throw it at another node, and so on and so forth. That's kind of a little bit of a bonus, and that's kind of why I have mine set up like this, is so that way I can just let them go and do its thing. But if you're curious, like, why isn't it working for you? Why isn't it automatically going from place to place? That's why. It's because your PAL box. See, you can see right here. There's my blue line, and that's my base location essentially. All right, so I have all of my ore. I have all of what? How much do we have? 308. I am at 2,736 weight, which is way over what I can move around with. But we're gonna grappling gun back to our base. We're gonna drop that off, and then I'm also gonna show you where I get coal, because if you're looking for iron, you're gonna be looking for coal eventually for refined ingots, and I just want to show you that since we're here anyways. Okay, so coal is basically the same thing as iron. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to get. Well, a little bit easier to get with your Dig Toys, but we're gonna use the Dig Toys as well. So there's a couple places you can get it. You can find it up here in this this Arctic-y area, if you will. I actually have this spot right here marked for quartz. You can find it in the desert. The desert is kind of the key place to find it. Now, I actually have this location right here. It's northwest of the map. There's a city right here. There's like a little city in this thing, and then there is this area over here. So I will transfer over here, and I'll show you this little area. So these are coal nodes, and if you actually look in the desert, you can see like we got a coal node there, we got one over there, we got one over there. But this has a nice little group. So basically, same thing. I throw out a Dig Toys, he's gonna go to town and get me all the coal that I'm gonna need to basically make refined ingots. Now, another tip with the Dig Toys here, because some people may be realizing that my Dig Toys is doing more damage here. If you have I'm gonna go into this a little bit more later, but my drill crusher on him is actually level 2 instead of level 1, and I'm gonna go into that later. So make sure you stick around for more of the video, because we're gonna go into that later. But that's why it might be doing a little bit more damage than say if you have one and you're not getting the same damage. That also might be why. All right, so we're back. We got our iron. We got all our goodies. Now, you may be asking, okay, the level 2 thing. Let's figure out what's going on with that. What in the heck is that? So let's talk about the condenser here. So this machine right here, you'll get it eventually. You actually get it pretty early. It's the PAL condensation menu. And basically what this machine does is it will, like, let's see here. Let me go through and let me sort my inventory here. Let me sort it so you can kind of see what it's gonna do and like make this a little bit easier. I recommend, if you're gonna go through and do this, sort it by PAL deck number, so that way all the PALs are, the similar PALs are all the same right next to each other, so you know how many you have of each one. But let's say we want, let me go back here. Let's do something we haven't done for a while. So this guy right here, Rib Bunny, right? Rib Bunny's partner skill is skilled fingers, which I believe makes him work faster, right? Makes him a better worker. Now, in order to get that from level 1 to level 2, you basically want to select one of your skill bunnies. Now, if you're gonna make a worker, you want one probably that is a good worker. So like a workaholic is a fantastic one. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see that it's going to give you a star, and you're going to see its max health is going to go up, its attack is going to go up a little bit, its defense is going to go up, and its skilled fingers are going to go up to level 2. Now you have to select 4 other ones in order to combine into that to basically, make that Rib Bunny that level. So you're going to begin condensation. Yep, cool. Okay, now that Rib Bunny is a 1-star. It has a level 2 unskilled fingers, and it has the workaholics thing, because that's the base one that I want to go with. Now, if I wanted to do it again, I need 16 Rib Bunnies instead. So, and then that would take it to level 3, and then so on and so forth, up to 4-star. So, that's how I have my other guy up to level 2. He does more damage that way. But it's just basically the same thing with any of these. So any of the partner skills that is what you're going to be leveling up. Now, like I said, for dig toys, it's fantastic. You need it because it just makes life easier. So that's how we do that. Now I'm going to show you where I got dig toys as well, because I know a lot of people are going to be asking where you get it. And yeah. So that was how we leveled up the skill. Now let's do a quick talk about the skills themselves. So if I go into any of these and I hit F, right, this is going to give us a work suitability thing, because I just want to talk about this while we're here, because we already have the partner skill, so we know what the partner skill does. Sometimes lays an egg when assigned to a ranch. So if you want more eggs, basically upgrade a chickpea. It'll give you more eggs. But there's also work suitability. And what this is for is for when they are out at your base, what they're going to do, what they're capable of doing. So you want to pay attention to what you have out and what you're wanting to get done. So for example, Anubis here is a handy work level 4. That means they are going to be amazing at workbenches. They're going to be fantastic at these workbenches. They're going to make things so fast. It's fantastic. But those are what those are going to do. So you want to just make sure that, you know, they're just the things that you have out, the things that you want done. You actually have the pals out to do it. Now I'll lightly go through them all, because I mean, they're all basically kind of self-explanatory. Kindling is, you know, smelting, fire, stuff like that. Planting, obviously planting a garden. Handiwork is working on benches. Lumbering is, you know, harvesting wood at the, either naturally occurring trees around your base or at the lumber pit or whatever. Medicine production, obviously if you have a medicine bench. Transporting, that is just moving resources from place to place. Watering the garden, or using the water wheel or the grinder. That's where you're gonna be one of those. Generating electricity, once you need electric generators, that's what you're gonna be doing. Gathering, that's gonna be picking the plants from the gardens. So actually for a garden, you need planting, gathering, watering, and planting, gathering, and watering. Yes, you need those 3 things. So mining is going to be for the stone pit in your base, and or if you have any other like occurring things in your base, like if you have like a natural stone node or a natural iron or ore node, you can do that. And then farming is when you build the ranch. They will go there and produce whatever. So, and a good example of that would be the chickpea, because they'll sometimes lay an egg when assigned to a ranch. Or if you have, say, the cow Mazarina, they will sometimes produce milk when assigned to a ranch. So you can see that they have this like farming ability right here. So very handy to know those. And then this is one of the best points ever, especially early game. If you're playing and you do not have one of these in the very early game, I don't even, what level do we unlock? What level do we unlock the ranch? If you are level 5, you need to go out and find one of these immediately. You need to go out and find yourself a Vixie. Vixie is hands down one of the most useful early game pals you can get. Period. End of story. Dot. That. Whatever. And it's not even because I don't even know where is a Vixie at. I have one right here. The reason is because Vixies, when assigned to a ranch, they're only farming level 1, sometimes digs up items from the ground when assigned to a ranch. This little pal on a ranch will give you an infinite supply of blue pal balls and arrows for the most part. And you'll get some other stuff here and there. But this is where I've been getting pretty much all of my arrows and blue pal balls that I ever have. I don't have any in my inventory right now because I haven't been using them. But if I go in, let's see, where's my blue pal balls at? They keep disappearing. I don't, what the heck? Get over there. I have 126 right here in this storage. However, if I go up here, I bet you I have more, because I have a Vixie out right now. So there's nothing laying on the ground because they already put it away. But there's another 103 right here. And there's another 47 arrows. Vixie, use them. Get a couple of them. Throw them on your base. Throw them into a thing right there. And get those free blue pal balls. You won't have to make anymore. It's fantastic. They're OP. They're amazing. Now, later game, not so much. But still pretty handy. And one thing I haven't done is I haven't leveled it up, so I haven't seen if it increases the frequency in which it gets or the items level themselves of what it gets, but still handy nonetheless. So get your Vixie. Get your Vixie. Get your Vixie. Just make sure you have a Vixie. All right, so for the next quick tip thing, this is going to be like an all-in-one little thing. Inventory stuff. There's some you can basically hit sort, sort your inventory. However, you can also hit R when you're hovering over a chest. There is a thing right here. I don't know what it says for Xbox. It says quick stack. Basically, if anything in here is in your inventory, you can hit R, and it will throw whatever it needs to in there. Basically, you go to your chest, you hit R, it takes whatever's out, so it makes storage organization a breeze. It makes it so nice. So you can go to your storages, you open it up, you hit R, and you just move on with your life. Now, I kind of wish you could, I wish you could do it from the outside. I wish you could just run up and like tap R or whatever, and like it would automatically do it without having to open anything. But you know what? I will take this like this. It's amazing. It's just such a handy item. It'll just go in here, hit R, and it will take whatever it needs. So very handy, very useful. Now you got to be careful with that a little bit, because sometimes if you have one random item, say an arrow, your stack of arrows will be gone. If you have one POW ball in here, your POW balls will be gone. So yeah, you have to be a little bit careful with it, but for the most part, it's one of the best things to happen. It's one of the best things in the game, period. And then the other thing with inventory related is key items. So up here next to your inventory, you can't see it because my camera's right here, but key items, this is where you can see all your saddles, all your different abilities, all your leashes, collars, all like the stuff that you have, like life monk effigies, how many you have. Key items are here. Now, say you wanted to use Daydream, but you didn't want to use the ability anymore. This is where you would have to remove that item. You know what I mean? Or if you wanted a for some reason you wanted to take a saddle off of something, this is where you would have to remove it from. So I didn't know this existed for the longest time, but it's handy, and I'm glad that I know now. Also, another fun tip, which let me see if I even have one to demonstrate it. I don't. If you have a pal that is knocked out, unconscious, incapacitated, whatever, you can actually just go to sleep with it in your inventory, and it'll be fine. It'll respawn. You don't have to throw it in your pal box. So like, let's say, I mean, let's just pretend that one of these was knocked out, right? If I go in here, I go to sleep, I wake up, boom, it'll be healed and ready to go again. So that is something as well. So you don't have to put it in your pal box and wait 10 minutes. Because, I mean, maybe you don't have 10 minutes. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to wait for it. So, yeah, there's a quick one for you. All right, let's also talk about base design. I get a lot of questions and comments on my base. It's not done. It's just a work in progress, right? But let's talk about like why it looks the way it does and why I do the things that I do and why I do it the way it is. Because what I did was I built my foundations and I put the PAL box down. And then I came out here to the blue circle, because the blue circle is where your pals will work in. Like, so if they're in the blue circle, they'll work, they'll do whatever they need to do. So basically I used foundations. I put foundations all the way out to the edges. I actually think I had it squared off at one point, but I think they got destroyed from raids, which we'll talk about here in a second. And then basically I just put a wall all the way around it. As you can see, kind of a circle, just to keep everything nice and safe inside. And yeah, it's fairly easy, fairly simple. But the thing and the tips that I want to give you is, if you are going to be building something like this and you're going to have an interior side, there's a couple things you need to watch out for. One is these one wall high rooms like this. Do not put things under here that pals need access to. They will get stuck very easily, especially larger pals or flying pals. They will get stuck in these rooms so easily, it's ridiculous. It's not even funny. So make sure you have space for your pals. The next thing is make sure you have space between different machines and different items. So I try to have enough room to make sure that everybody can run through everything. I don't want things super close. I usually try to have, like, even the beds, like I try to have like a foundation, you know, they're on the corners right there. The reason I build on the corners is it's a grid pattern that helps me keep things lined up for the most part. So I had a lot of people asking me about that too. But make sure your pals have room to work and make sure they have space to move around. Now, as far as multi-story goes, I would recommend having 2 wide stairs. Having a single set of stairs, a single wide stair might cause some pathing issues. I don't know. I just have double wide stairs because I prefer double wide stairs. Yeah, so that's what I do. Now, you'll notice up here, these walls are too high as well. So when I first did this, I had pals that were getting out. They were getting stuck on top of the walls. Make sure your walls are at least double high. If you want them to stay within an area, make sure your walls are at least too high. That'll prevent them from like spawning out or like, you know, like loading on top of the wall and then falling out. Because what I had was I only had 1 wall high, and I'd come back and half my pals were outside my base, like stuck and starving and hungry, and like, you know, they couldn't do anything. So yeah, make sure your walls are too high if you want to keep your pals in. And then also, I guess, if you want to keep pals out too, right? It keeps them out. So, but then that also brings me into raids. Let's talk about the raids, because raids, for the most part, they do get harder as you go along. but I almost never have an issue with them. It could also be my location. My location is fairly easy. Another thing about locations, make sure you find a nice somewhere flat to work with. Big flat open area is very nice. But as far as location, as far as like a base raid goes, all of my base raids typically happen outside. They'll come in here, they'll start attacking a wall or something like that, and then they end up leaving. So unless I come here and open this door. If I open this door, they'll come in here, and then all of these pals will start attacking. Now, let's talk about how to survive these raids, because I get a lot of people commenting. They're like, how do you survive all these raids? You know, my base got raided, I got destroyed, all this stuff. A good way to survive the raids, and I actually need to probably do this myself, because a lot of these guys are like level 20s and stuff like that, is leveling up your worker pals, leveling up the pals that are working in your base. Now, there's very easy ways to do this. So if I go to my pal box manager, right, and I go through these guys are like 17. They do level up themselves as they're working too. But like, let's say I have a whole bunch of level 1s and stuff like that, and I'm starting to get raided, you know, pretty hard. Go do like the first boss or something like that. Go do something super easy. Take these guys in your party. You know, like if you can one pal the boss or whatever. Like if I take Dig Toys over to the first boss, I will destroy that first boss very easily with one pal. So I can put all like level 1 pals in the rest here. They will get levels super fast. And if you level up these pals in here, they'll be strong enough to typically fight whatever comes after them. Now, the other thing is make sure you're using the appropriate pals for what you're doing. So as you can see, I have some like, you know, fancier pals in here doing work, right? We have Anubis, which has like, you know, level 4, level 3 mining, level 4 handiwork, level 3 mining. We have some Blaze Howl Nox in here, which are level 3 kindling and stuff like that. But these guys are also just stronger, period. Now, if I had a whole bunch of like, you know, pangolins and stuff like that in here, I mean, they'd be fine, but like these guys, they have abilities and attacks and stuff like that that can do like AoEs, they can do more damage, things like that. So just keeping your base pals leveled up a little bit, you know, make sure you have like you have some stronger ones in there. It's typically how I've never really had an issue with the raids. So that's, you know, make sure level up your base pals a little bit, you know, show them some love, give them some love. They'll be fine. Your base will be good. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do, and I meant to do this earlier, and I do apologize, and I want to show you where I found my Dig Toys. So I know, because like I said, Dig Toys is such a huge help. I found mine in this area right here. So if you basically, you're going to want a flyer. You're going to want your Nightwing or whatever the first flyer. I can't remember, is first flyer Nightwing, or is it? Yeah, I think it's Nightwing. So take your flyer over. Go over here. There's an area right here. This is this desert area. Now, I will tell you to be careful, because I'll go over here and I'll show you what I mean. Be careful though, because if you get too far into the desert, you're going to get hit with heat. And you don't want to get hit with heat, because getting hit with the heat is, it's going to start doing damage to you, and it's just not fun. Now, I got lucky because it was like in between times. So during the day it's hot, and during the night it's cold. So when I happened to go over there, it was right at the end of the day, right at the beginning of night, and that's when I actually caught my my Dig Toys. So let me pop over here, and I'll kind of show you where I caught it and where they spawn and where I got away with not getting hit by the heat. Okay, so down in this area, there's a couple of areas that it can happen. So down in here, you can see there's green, right? You can see we're still technically in this forest area. So this area shouldn't be too hot. It is a little hot right now. I can see my temperature gauge. There's a temperature gauge right next to your health bar. It's a little blue and thing right there, blue and orange thing right there. That's where your temperature gauge is at. Now, if I get too close, so like if I start moving in here, it's gonna probably go up. Okay, or it was already went up. Okay, so let's see, where was I at? I was down over here along the coastline, I do believe. Okay, yeah, so this is where I found my first Dig Toys. Basically right here. Is level 18, so yeah, it is a little bit hard. It is a little bit higher level, so I think I was level 15 when I found it, and I was like, oh my gosh, an 18. But as you can see, do you see my heat now? My heat is right in the middle, so I did not have to have any special armor. I didn't have to have anything special. I was just flying around, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, cool. So that is actually where I found my first Dig Toys. Now, if you have a heat armor, and if you have some heat resistance, if you have maybe a shirt that has a heat resistance or whatever, you can go out here, but as soon as you cross, let's see, it's like right here. Yes, right here, this threshold. If I go back, I'm good. I believe this area, I think you can even go out to the ocean right here, and I think you'll be all right. Yeah, so even out here in this, even in this deserty area, this whole spot right here, and I'll show you again on the map where it's at. It's right in here. This is where you can find the dig toys without having to heat, without having to have, you know, like any protection, things like that. And I mean, there's a lot of people here. Holy moly. There's a lot of syndicates here. Jeez Louise. But this is where I found the dig toys. And the dig toys, like I said, it is probably one of the biggest game. Oh my God, is that a huge dragon egg? That is a huge dragon egg right there. Is it a huge or is it just a large? We found another huge dragon egg. That's exciting. That's very exciting. The huge dragon egg. Everyone that I've caught, it turns into a Dormitide Ignis. All of my dragon eggs have turned into this guy, which is it's a very nice, it's a very, very handy guy to have. But yeah, Dormitide Ignis. So very cool. But that's what all of my my huge dragon eggs have turned into. I haven't had one turn into anything else yet, so maybe this one will be different. But that's where you get your dig toys. And then those are like my tips and tricks. Hopefully this helped. Did it help? Did you find anything useful? Was there anything useful for you? If there was, leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know what was most useful to you. Or if you think that I forgot something very important, leave a comment down below as well. Like I said, I'm not saying this is like my top 10 thing. I'm not saying this is like the best things. These are just things that I usually get asked about and that are probably the most commented thing. So yeah, hopefully they're helpful and hopefully you enjoyed. And if you did, maybe leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We've been streaming a lot of Palworld here on YouTube and over on Twitch. So we do multi-stream. So if you want to follow on Twitch or on YouTube, you can. And yeah, we'll be streaming again on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then sometimes Thursdays and Fridays and Saturday nights as well. So yeah, thanks again for coming out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.